doctors sentenced for negligent homicide. Today, the Eastern Finland Court of Appeal sentenced 2 doctors for negligent homicide in connection with the death of a child in January 2019 at the Kymenlaakso Central Hospital in Kotka. The parents brought the child to the emergency room at 5:12 a.m., and the child died about 12 hours later at 5:45 p.m. The court determined that the doctors mishandled the case and delayed appropriate treatment, leading to the child's death. The child required only fluids and antibiotics to treat meningococcal sepsis. Although the initial diagnosis was Heinrich-Schönlein purpura, a relatively harmless condition, the doctors failed to consider other possibilities as the child's condition worsened. The incorrect diagnosis and failure to administer antibiotics in a timely manner had severe consequences. The 2 doctors were fined €6,720 and €9,100, respectively, and ordered to pay approximately €21,000 in legal costs. The Court of Appeal upheld the lower court's decision. Trial of Amissa bakery employee and owner in Keuruu. Today, the Central Finland District Court continued the trial of an employee and the owner of Amissa bakery in Keuruu, accused of serious health endangerment and aggravated fraud. The employee claimed she was just a regular worker without major responsibilities in production. She stated that she primarily worked in the warehouse and lacked the authority and training to assume a leadership role. According to the employee, everyone at the bakery often helped each other, and overall responsibility lay with the business owner. She also explained that labeling errors were likely due to human error, and mislabeled products were repackaged before reaching customers. Both the business owner and the employee were present in court. The prosecutor requested at least 2.5 years of imprisonment for the business owner and a suspended sentence of about 1.5 years for the employee. Additionally, the prosecutor demanded that the business owner pay a €775,000 fine. The trial will continue tomorrow at the Jyväskylä District Court, where the business owner's testimony and final statements will be heard. A decision will be issued later. Health endangerment charges are rare in Finland. Professor Matti Tolvanen recalled a similar case involving Yersinia bacteria from over 20 years ago, considered a precedent for current cases. Chinese students monitor each other at Finnish universities. Signs of Chinese surveillance of their students have appeared at Finnish universities. Professors and lecturers report that surveillance occurs through various means, such as filming during classes and creating pressure that discourages students from discussing issues related to China. According to an Amnesty report in early May, the surveillance aims to prevent any criticism of China. Students in several European and North American countries report being monitored during protests, with their families in China also being threatened. Professor Lauri Paltamaa from the University of Turku noted that some students are members of the Chinese Communist Party. He observed that the surveillance has made some students hesitant to discuss issues related to China. An Amnesty report highlighted a case where a student in London was contacted by Chinese police within hours after participating in a memorial for the Tiananmen Square massacre, demonstrating the extensive surveillance China exerts on its citizens abroad. Tiina Eriksinen, vice-rector of the University of Helsinki, stated that students must register and regularly report their activities to the Chinese embassy. Although there have been no specific cases in Finland, the risk of surveillance is real and concerning. Hundreds of dead fish, including huge species like perch and grass carp, have recently been discovered around the Vaasa area's coastlines. Expert Juha Ojaharju lists warm weather, spawning season, and low sea levels as potential factors. Expert in fisheries Juha Ojaharju expressed sadness at seeing dead fish on the shores close to Vaasa's center. He saw 12 dead fish within a short distance, including grass carp and perch. He thinks that the reproductive season and low sea levels have resulted in a shortage of oxygen, which has caused the mass fish fatalities. Furthermore, the unexpected increase in temperature plays a role. Ojaharju believes that this situation is only temporary and that the number of dead fish will decrease in the coming time. However, he stressed that further monitoring and research is needed to prevent similar incidents in the future. A new method of treating mental disorders in Finland is being studied for effectiveness. The welfare areas of Finland have largely adopted a new approach for mental health and addiction treatment in the last several years. According to several specialists, additional research is necessary to assess its efficacy. Saranoitaja UC Pajanen observes positive outcomes with the new model. The therapy at Itulinjan concept places a strong emphasis on beginning mental health therapy at the health stations. Some Omahaim co-workers, however, worry that the abbreviated treatment period would be too straightforward and demanding of the patients. The model's objective is to lessen the need for specialized care and psychotherapy for rehabilitation. The model is still being refined and was created by HUS, Helsinki and Uusimaa, so there isn't enough long-term data on its general efficacy in Finland. Critics claim that the model ignores the underlying problem and concentrates excessively on symptoms. Certain approaches, including brief cognitive therapy, have been demonstrated to work, nevertheless. Thousands of healthcare professionals have received training on how to use the concept, which has been in place for 2 to 3 years in welfare regions. Funding was provided to the model in 2024 to investigate the effects of brief therapy. Sotajoki Suspension Bridge in Inari closed due to safety concerns. The Sotajoki Suspension Bridge in the Hamastuntaren Wilderness region has been closed by Metsähallituksen Luontopalvelut due to flaws discovered during inspections. The bridge is near Pahajoen Kultala and roughly a kilometer from Sotajoenti. This bridge is now not usable to access the road that leads to Ivalojoen Kultalaan from the bridge. Metsähallitus says no more trails are leading to Kultala. Constructed in the 1970s, the Sotajoki Suspension Bridge underwent renovations in 2017. It spans a distance of 12 kilometers, or 28 meters, from Pahajoki to Ivalojoki. Metsähallitus is now inspecting all suspension bridges in national parks and other tourist destinations across the country for safety. Should any flaws be discovered, the bridge will be closed for maintenance. Of the 32 suspension bridges in tourist attractions, the Sotajoki Bridge has the lowest traffic volume compared to the others. Suomussalmi scarecrows in summer clothes. For the past 30 years, Hiljainen Kansa, an environmental artwork, has been situated along the Vitosti route. The Hiljainen Kansa scarecrows in Suomussalmi received new summer attire on Thursday. The sculpture adapts to how visitors engage with it. The scarecrow's attire can be altered by anyone by removing a piece of clothing and swapping it out for a comparable item. There have been lost leather coats here in the past. Although people can alter their garments, they must find something else to wear in their place. Don't just leave a cross, Reiho Kila, an artist, remarked. For the scarecrows, a large quantity of clothing is shipped from all over the world. Frequently, the giver requests a picture of the scarecrow wearing the new attire. The sculpture has been around for 30 years. The traditional volunteer group changes the costumes of thousands of scarecrows twice a year. The Hiljainen Kansa was created by artist Reiho Kila and has been on the Vitosti street since 1994. The Angry Birds series based on the popular Finnish game is getting a third part. The film is in production, according to an announcement from Rovio and Sega, which acquired Rovio last year. With Josh Gad and Jason Sudeikis reprising their roles as voice performers, Angry Birds 2's director John Rice will make a comeback. DNEG, the company behind movies like Nimona and Garfield, is in charge of the animation and special effects for the movie. The first movie was released in 2016, and it became the fourth highest-grossing movie in Finland and the US charts quite rapidly. Global box office receipts for the first two Angry Birds movies exceeded €450 million. Sega purchased Rovio for approximately €706 million. Hollywood is making good money off of game adaptations. The Super Mario Bros. Movie brought in over €1 billion in revenue in 2023, and other successful movies that included Sonic the Hedgehog and Uncharted. The future of the pandas at Ähtäri Zoo is still uncertain after this fall. The zoo needs to improve its financial situation to receive state support. Ähtäri Zoo had an improvement in its performance the previous year, but it still lost €838,000 in 2023 as opposed to €1.5 million in 2022. Risto Sivonen, the board chairman, stated that the budget cuts will not end. In order to provide the zoo with a typical summer, he hopes that travelers will opt for domestic travel. They will assess the outcomes and choose cost-cutting strategies after the summer. Though their future is still unknown, the pandas will spend at least this summer in Ähtäri. Kauko Kantola, a representative of the Ähtäri City Council, stated that the tourism industry is still losing money and is not in a healthy financial situation. At this point, the city has not become involved in the business's activities.